Well, hello again. It has been a really long time since a video, but a couple friends suggested to me that this may help a little bit, and when I went through the thought process in my head, I'm like, yeah, this may help me, but I think more importantly, hopefully it might help somebody else that is going through the same thing, or in the future somebody going through the same thing, because Lord knows I really could have used it myself. So first off, I want to say that I married my best friend. I married my soulmate, and then there's not a lot of people who can say that who are even married. I was one of the very few lucky people who got to marry their soulmate. And on August 17th, 2017, my world, my life ended. And I can't even begin to explain the thought process, because the last month has just been a blur, total blur. And I'm hoping that my experience can help someone else, because you're gonna have family and friends and coworkers try and tell you everything and anything, and most of the time they cannot tell you how you should feel, how you should recover from this, because they didn't go through it yet themselves. So don't let them tell you any different. One thing I can tell you for sure is you cry so much that when you go to cry again, there is nothing left. You can't even produce tears anymore. And if you happen to be at a hospital, like we were, they rush you into, well, you gotta find a funeral home. You gotta, and you can't. You didn't even have time to process it. In your head, you don't have time to process any of this. It just happened, and they want you to hurry up and find a funeral home. Is just unbelievable to me. But maybe some other places will be different, but this one here was like that. I'm not going to go into specifics yet into how he passed. I cannot handle that right now. But maybe in the future, my thought process on this is maybe a video a week, every other week. And then maybe if you guys have questions, I can try and answer them as best I can. And just see how it goes, basically. So if you do have any questions, please don't be afraid, thinking that you might offend me or something else. If you have a true, honest question, or if you're going through the same thing, please post it, and I will do my best to answer you either in the comment or in the video here. The one thing I can definitely tell you right away, if somebody hasn't told you right away, is lots of death certificates. Get plenty of copies, because everyone is going to want one and need one. Credit card companies, banks, you name it, cable companies, lights, electric bill, water, everything is gonna want one. If you need to change your name into yours, so I guess I'll start off right now going through the first week. Was pretty much unbearable, and family just all over the place, and all you want is just the world to stop. Just stop for 1 minute. But it doesn't. You can't even have a chance to breathe. And especially, I can't imagine if you're going through this, if you have to plan a funeral. My husband personally told me and his kids that no funeral. He absolutely did not want a funeral. All he wanted was to be cremated. And out of everything that's happened so far, the hardest thing for me personally was to sign those papers to allow the funeral home to cremate his body. That was by far the hardest thing for me to do. It was just so final. Then I had to call all the credit card companies, all the bills that he paid. We had separate things that we paid, so he had only his name in a few things. So having to switch that over to my name, and then trying to figure out to pay them. The second week, family is still around, and at this point, you just don't want anybody around. You want to be by yourself, because you just need to scream and curse at them for leaving you. And then by the third week, I finally left, and I finally got the house to myself. And I'm still off of work at that time. I took off, those 3 weeks, and it just felt as good as it could to just finally be able to sit in silence and think about everything, and just to absorb it, I guess you could say, to realize that it's real. And then the fourth week, this last week, I went to work, I think, 2 days, for half days, to try and get back into the swing of things. And believe me, you're not even close to being ready yet. And if anybody tells you how long before you need to be back to normal, go ahead and punch them in the face. Because they have no clue. And they won't until it happens to them. That's the gist of it. No, I shouldn't have said punched them in the face, though. You shouldn't. I didn't. I wanted to. But, yeah, you shouldn't. One thing I did right away was take his car and my car, and I traded them both in for one car, because it's going to help with if you have two payments. If you have two cars and you have two payments, that'll sometimes drop it down, but it'll also help your insurance and drop it down. And that was extremely hard as well. I think I went to the dealership 2 days in a row, and I was there for like 6 hours each day because I had to bring one car down and get it looked over and evaluated, and then I had to come the next day with the other car. But they were extremely nice. My salesman actually came to my house to drive the other car when it was time to leave them both at the dealership and just get one car. So they really went above and beyond to help me get that part straightened out. That was the biggest thing I've done, and a lot of people will probably tell you don't make any big decisions right away, but I don't really consider that a big decision. I consider that a money-saving decision, because all of a sudden you do not have his income anymore to help you to pay for the house, the cars, the taxes. It's gone. It's all gone. Now you have to rely on just yourself. One thing I could say is him being a veteran and going to the VA office the day after, that definitely helps. If he's ex-military, they will give you a burial allowance, and if he's receiving any funds from the VA, they will give you that last month check in the mail. So that will help you for maybe a month or two. Until if he has any life insurance to come through. Which, by the way, I still don't have. So you're definitely going to have to watch yourself and watch your spending until that comes through. Because you never know what's going to happen. Prime example is 2 days after he passed, the refrigerator died on us. On me, I guess. And I know he had something to do with it because he absolutely hated that refrigerator. So here's me 3 days after he dies, going into an appliance store, looking at refrigerators, because I have to have a fridge. And when they say don't make any massive decisions and that, that's a good example of it too, because I went in there and I saw a fridge that I knew he would have loved, and I bought it solely on that. Not how big it was, not anything else, just I knew he would have loved it, and I bought it. And that's a big reason why people say that. I'm going to try and wrap this up now because it's been pretty hard just to make this initial video. I probably can't tell you how many tries I've done this now. But my hope, like I said in the beginning, is it won't only help me, but hopefully it'll help somebody else out there as well that could be going through the same thing. If you have questions or anything, put them in the comments below. Like I said before also, I'll do my best to answer them, and then maybe in the next video or whatever, I'll try to answer as many as I can at that point, and then we'll see how things are at that time. Maybe I can kind of go through what happened, but right now I just can't do it. I'm sorry. And since I don't really know how to end something like this, I'm just gonna say goodbye and see you next time.